Hi, Marvin. Welcome to Airhacks FM.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate
now,
you having me on.
the hardest question ever. What was your first computer?
Haha, that's an easy one. I had an Atari 400.
400. I only know the 800 XL. This is what I remember.
I got that one as an upgrade, but that was my first computer. I don't even remember the year. It was probably early, maybe 1984, maybe. No, it was before that, maybe 1982.
Something like this, okay. And how the 400 was different to the 800?
Let's see, the 200 or the 400. It had a flat keyboard.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't have mechanical keys. They were just like flat keys. And spec wise, I have no idea.
No, just from look and feel, not the spec, but I think this is the form factor. It was.
Yeah, and the 800 was a lot smaller. It was more like a keyboard with a computer built into it, where the 400 was more like a game console with a keyboard attached to it.
I never saw the 400, so I have to do some research. You see?
Yeah.
And what you did with the computer? Why you got it? First question.
So I think I was around 12 years old. I got straight A's that year in middle school.
Wow.
And my parents asked me what, since I got straight A's, that they would reward me with a gift. And at that time I had been an Atari gamer, just like every other teenager. And I had read in gaming magazine that if you got one of these things called a personal computer, you could create your own games. And I was like, wow, that is cool. So that's why I got my first computer. I wanted to learn how to write video games. So.
And what you did before that? How you played games without having a computer?
Just the Atari 2600 game console.
Okay. So you had the console already, and you wanted to have a computer to write games.
Yeah.
That's actually a cool story. And you got the computer, and what happened then? And I'm curious.
I got it right at the end of the school year, and I had no idea how to use it, and I can't even remember. I guess I figured this out through a magazine, but I got a basic language cartridge. You had to plug a cartridge. The basic language was just like a game cartridge. And I got a book.
But on the 400, right? Not the 800. 800
right?
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I got a book on basic, and man, ever since then, I've been coding pretty much every day of my life.
You like the experience with the basics? So you understood what's actually in the book? Oh,
yeah. And, they didn't have floppy drives. They had, so I was, that's the first thing I learned. I'm writing these programs and I had no way to save them. So I had to get, it was basically a cassette recorder that plugged into the serial port of the computer, and you saved your programs on a cassette tape.
Yeah, load and save. These were the commands, basic commands, right?
Yeah, and I remember the when I got my first floppy drive. Wow, that was just exciting.
Exactly. Yeah. The problem with the tapes, as I remember, you could save, load and save, and you can even name the files which are stored on the tape, but you had to wait until they come, right? So if you said, okay, the name of the file is AB, then you just wait until it starts, and if it was not the file, then you have to wait half an hour or whatever, right? So and floppies were great. So this was like dream. Yeah.
Oh, it was, yeah.
So okay, so you start to program, and what was your first game, or whatever? What was your most serious applications you implemented back then?
I was a kid, so
yeah.
we, I created a couple games, nothing like that was like, impressive.
But
Mostly
what
like
was it roughly? Roughly.
one, I don't know if you remember, they talk about this on the movie, Ready Player One, the Atari, I think adventure, where you're just moving a dot through like a maze of different screens of mazes. So that was sort of like my first game. I created something like that. And then that was my lesson in RAM, because my friend got into it with me after a couple weeks of me just doing that nonstop. He decided he would start helping me, and we were both programming, and we got this error. I don't remember what the error message was, but it meant we had ran out of RAM.
Oh,
so that was our first experience with random access memory. Like, wow, you can run out.
And you knew about pick and pokes back then, or this was just hell?
You know what? I don't remember, to be honest.
Because this is what I remember. I understood basic, but pick and pokes was black magic for me. So years later, I got what it actually is. And I didn't have, the book with the memory map. So I had no idea what to do. And the others just knew. And this was for me like amazing that they knew, put two numbers and the behavior of the game changed. It's like how they can know it, So this was the big question.
Yeah. So what was your first computer?
ZX Spectrum. You know ZX Spectrum? Amstrad.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that.
No. ZX Spectrum, it was big in UK.
Okay.
And Z80 processors. So lots of my guests had also ZX Spectrum. And it was similar to Atari, pretty much, I would say. From the specs, it's not as good as the 520, but I think will be comparable to the 800. And I had I got the sophisticated ZX Spectrum with 128K memory. And the usual one was 48, and I could switch between both.
Yeah. So, in the United States at that time, I think it was the Atari and the Commodore 64 were the two big computers.
And I think Commodore was way better than the Atari, right, from graphics?
I think so, yeah. I was a kid, and I was a loyal Atari, because I played Atari on console games. So that was my brand. But, yeah, Commodore probably was a better computer.
And Atari was predecessor of Mac, more or less, right? So there were some commonalities, I would say.
Was it? Yeah. So I had the Atari 400, the Atari 800 XL. That was the next one I got. And then after that, I got the Atari, I think it was called like the 1500 ST or something. That was more like a Mac. It had like the monitor with the computer that was built into the monitor and a floppy drive right in the front. So, and it had the window type graphical user interface. So, yeah.
And you still wrote games back then.
Yeah, I guess I got out of it when I started college, but
there were any sophisticated games or?
Nah, not really. They were all everything was in BASIC. So I never got beyond BASIC when I was using it.
So when you stopped, writing games and started something else to implement?
I'm trying to think. When I went to college, I wasn't doing a whole lot. I went to college for aerospace engineering, so I didn't have a whole lot of free time.
Space engineering?
Yeah, aerospace. So, yeah, rocket science.
Rocket science?
Yeah.
You are the rocket scientist.
Yeah, well, I don't use it, but I got a degree in it. Let's see. So, yeah, without the internet, it wasn't, the internet changed everything, right? Like you had access to a lot more information. I didn't really have a whole lot of ideas for stuff. I was trying to, I would try to write small programs that could help, that were utilitarian, that could help do things. I remember trying to write a calorie counter program at some point, but this was all before. I did write my own budget program that was pretty sophisticated as far as tracking tracking all my spending and all. That was right after I got out of college.
But this is actually good enough. And what would you expect? It's just I was interested. What is the trajectory from writing simple basics software, and what was the next language you learned? This is also interesting.
So when I graduated from college with an aerospace degree, there really wasn't this was in 1992. The majority of the jobs were in software. So luckily I had software background, so I was able to get a job in software working for NASA. And they were doing, at that time, they were actually, most of their software was written in Fortran.
Mm-hmm.
So they were, at that time, converting a lot of their software from Fortran to C.
Mm-hmm.
So that C was basically I knew a little Fortran, but C was the next language really that I learned.
Mm-hmm.
And then I quickly learned C++ from there.
Mm-hmm.
And then Java after that. So, yeah.
But and so after your college, you joined NASA?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So, and this was like your dream. You wanted to be a space engineer, or what's?
Yeah, I don't know if it was my dream, but it was cool to get a job at NASA. I didn't know when I got out of college. I honestly didn't know what I wanted to do. I mean, I loved software was my passion, so I don't know why I didn't go to college for software development, but I got out of school, ended up with a software job, and realized, well, this is what I was good at. This is what I like to do. So I just stayed in the field. So that's what I did for my whole career. So
okay. And why you learned Java? Because NASA was interested in Java, or what's? Actually,
no. Java was much later than that. NASA was going from Fortran. They were experimenting with a lot of stuff. They were doing C. They were doing Ada. They were doing C++. They were going to C++. I left there in the C++ era. And I just started, I don't know why. I wasn't learning Java for my professional career. It was the new thing. So I just started picking it up, and I didn't use it that much. I probably didn't use it that much till around like the end of probably like the beginning of the 2000s. So.
And before we start with Java, so what you did in NASA, was there some cool projects?
The group that I worked with, they were mission planning. So they were doing, they wrote software that allowed the actual engineers to plan out actual, space missions, trajectories for the rockets and the satellites and stuff like that. So, believe it or not, the way they did it when I first got out of college was every mission had its own specific software that they used. Like, they would take the software from the previous mission, make a full copy of it basically, and then change it for the new mission. They didn't have the concept of like a piece of software where they could just use for any type of mission, right? Like
almost microservices, what they did, right?
Yeah, so it was pretty, I mean, archaic, I think is the word.
Scripting.
So, the first project that I worked on there in C++. Our small group created a Windows-based application that we were trying to tell them that, look, you can have one piece of software and use this for all your missions. You don't have to have individual software for each mission. You can use this software. And, as far as I know, I left before that was finished, but it never really went anywhere. So I imagine they eventually caught up to that, but
what you can do, right? You can try and improve the world. So what I tried to do, I tried to do it 3 times, and if it doesn't work, I gave up. So what you can do, right? You cannot, okay. So you learned Java. in the early 2000s, and what you did with Java then? What was your first project, or why you learned Java? There were
wow, that's a good question. I'm having a hard time remembering. I guess it was the new thing, and I was always just trying to try new things, and I guess the real reason, no, man, I tell you, I don't remember why I started using Java, honestly.
But maybe which version of Java was the first one you used?
Wow, I don't even remember that.
But you said early 2000s, so I assume it's JDK 1.2 or 1.3.
Yeah, that's probably right. Yeah, and at the time, applets were a thing, so that may have been why I started playing around with it, because I wanted to try out using applets. So it was weird because basically up to that point my career was in C++, so Java was it felt weird because I was used to having two files for every class, a header file and a implementation file.
Exactly. This is you are the first way of saying this. For me, it was the same. So I spent time with C++, and then Java came, and I like Java. But what I really hated is that for me, C++ was cleaner because the include files were separated, from the actual file, and the linking was like, I found this is really cleaner. In Java was for me like interface and class. Yes, somehow. Yeah, if you think about it, it's also two files. But for me, it was not as clean as C++. It's hard to explain right now. But I really remember the feelings. Okay, is somehow Java is not clean enough, because in C++ there was the clean separation.
I felt the same way, but after I got used to it, there was no going back.
Yeah, I think if I was some free time, I would still try, to relearn maybe C++ just for fun, because there was fun stuff like operator overloading and C in and C out. So there was lots of crazy stuff, which is fun, but I would not use it in production. But maybe it's, maybe it's useful. Who knows? Before I learn another esoteric language, I would rather relearn C++. Right. So this is
the one thing I miss the most from C++ is type defs. I do miss that because
for what? What you did with it?
Just for more type restrictiveness, so you could define a type. It sort of communicated, instead of having a string for like every parameter, you could type def a string so you knew exactly what type, if that was currency, right? You could say, well, this is currency. I mean, you can do it in Java with a class, but
or annotation.
Sometimes a class is just,
or annotation, right? It sounds more like adding annotation for a more specific information, like metadata.
Yeah, I guess so. I just found type defs to be.
I'm not sure whether they were available in my time, because I started with C++ before maybe 1994, something like this, and I had the C++ on Linux. And what I remember, they had trouble with templates. So templates were not. So maybe typedef was not available. I don't know. I cannot remember typedef. So I have to.
Typedef was basically like just one line of code you could put anywhere. You just said typedef, give it a name, and then the class that you were typing. So yeah, it was pretty easy to use.
So what happened then with Java and you? So what you started to do with Java?
Let's see. So I guess I'm trying to think of what year it was.
It doesn't matter roughly, right? So it was interesting me, what was your when you got excited about Java and what do you implement? So what was the first projects or?
I think the biggest thing I implemented that I can remember was back around the time of the tech bubble, I think. I'm trying to
2001.
Yeah, it might have been a little after that, but I remember writing a web scraper program using Java that could collect stock information, and I was collecting tons of stock information like weekly and then I was using it to pick stocks basically. So that was pretty cool.
So like a crawler robot, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I remember the website I was using to collect my data. They discovered that I was doing that, and they started redirecting my requests out to the Human Genome Project. So instead of downloading,
but this is actually a cool reaction.
Yeah, instead of collecting stock data, I was just downloading the Human Genome, and
that's actually a cool story. This is a nice one.
Yeah, that's funny. So I contacted them about it, and they were like, "Well, we don't want you using our data like that." And I was like, "Well, I'm just like a hobbyist. I'm just doing this. I'm not a commercial, entity or anything." And they said, "Well, okay, we'll let you do it if you agree to report any bugs you find." So I was like, "Okay." So they allowed me to keep scraping their website for their data.
And you found any bugs?
I did not. So
all
I was doing is scraping their website, so it wasn't a whole lot of stuff.
What I wanted to implement always was like a crawler recursively, right? Which searches the entire internet from link to link to link. So this is what I wanted to do once.
I know. I did that too, and then the information just explodes, right? It's the storage of all, it's the storage of all that data that's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah. How long your bot went? Because I had no time to implement this.
I don't know. It didn't run that long until I started running into performance problems where, storing the data and then accessing it to see if I'd already accessed that stuff. So it didn't, I was doing this just, as a hobby, and other things came up. I was always coming up with new ideas. So,
yeah.
But yeah, the crawling the web is like, I don't know. There's something exciting about that. I don't know what it is, but that was a fun thing to do.
Yeah. I think this is how Google happened, say, okay. And then
so really, I guess really how everything, when I really got into Java was, at some point back, I don't know, 2005, something like that. Maybe I got a job at a startup that was converting a Java applet into regular HTML and JavaScript.
Huh.
And
I thought Flash.
Man, I hate that. I hated that. I just, that job was terrible. Trying to write code in JavaScript, it was just, I just didn't like going to work every day. And I only lasted the job like 6 months. But after I came out of that job, I was like, you know what, there's got to be a better way to do this. So I actually started a new product I called Galileo, and it was leveraging applet technology to try to build like a more flashy user interface for the web for Java. But then it was shortly after that they basically obsoleted the Java applet technology because of security issues and stuff. So that project didn't go anywhere.
Okay, and you did it as a product, so it was like a company around, or?
Yeah, but it never went public. The product never came to fruition. I never finished it, and it never was available for anybody to use, just because the applet got obsoleted. So it was sort of like a.
But you worked full time on it?
Oh yeah. For like, I want to say maybe a year. I worked full time on it.
It is sad, right? So if you invest so much time. And
yeah, it is. It was a lot of time.
So then I can tell also a sad story, because what I did is I wrote once a book about JavaFX script, and then the book was finished, and then JavaFX script was killed.
Oh, that's terrible.
This was almost the same day, but for me it was not as bad, because I just wrote the book. I was a consultant, so there was like dead time in hotels, in trains and buses. Never quality time. It's just dead time basically. So I still enjoyed that. So I was not even sad, I would say. So okay, it is cool, because if the book was finished, but they would edit this and do stuff. So the boring, phase began. So I was actually happy. So again, who cares? So move on, right? The editor was stunned that actually I'm not angry. So, okay, why we should publish the book if the JavaFX script, not JavaFX script was killed, right? So, so what did you do afterwards? So Galileo was killed, and then?
Let's see. So then I got a job at another company here doing Java work, which that was full Java work, and that's really when I was really leveraging Java a lot. That was for a control system for a battle aircraft carrier.
Hey, cool.
So, yeah. So, and then while I was working that job, I don't remember
aircraft carrier, like Top Gun.
Yeah. So while I was working that job, my sister, who was an elementary school teacher at the time, came to me. She says, I was using this website that was an online grade book and it just disappeared overnight. She goes, is that something like you could do? And I was like, well, it sounds like a fun project to try. So that's where, the idea of iGrade Plus came from. That's my big product. And so I started developing that.
But what exactly? What
is the product?
No, what you started to develop back then? So what was the first use case?
Basically, it was just create something you could log in, create your account, and then create a teacher could create a grade book, and then create classes, enter assignments, and then record grades. I hadn't, my experience before that.
Hey, but this would be even a cool business idea because you could implement backdoor for the kids. And if they pay you $1, whatever, you get A grade for $3, B $2, C $1, and you will be millionaire in shortest amount of time, I would say.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't think about that. I'd probably be able to retire. I already been able to retire if I did that.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, I hadn't done a lot of web development before then. So, my only experience was that 6-month stint at the startup. And I was like, man, I can't do this in JavaScript. Like it just isn't going to work. So I started looking for, Java-based solutions. And at the time, all I found was JSP and Google Web Toolkit and
JSF.
JSF. That's the only thing I saw. And I originally started with the first version I did it with JSP. And I don't know how far I got into it with that before I realized that was not going to work. Like it just wasn't really going to work. It wasn't robust enough. And I'm big into design or object-oriented design and architecture, and it just wasn't working for me. So that's where I came up with the idea for Oorian is I'm like, I just want to write object-oriented Java code. And I want, just like if I was writing a desktop application, but I just wanted to run on the web. So I started developing Oorian in tandem with iGrade Plus. So now, that's where I'm at now. So
when it started with,
I want to say, so the original idea for iGrade Plus, my sister first came to me was probably like around 2012. And it was just a part-time like project at that time. And depending on how busy I was at my full-time job, there were times where months would go by where I was working like 80 hours a week at my full-time job. So I wasn't getting any work done on iGrade Plus. So it might have been like 2 or 3 years before it really became I remember I put the first release out. And I got really busy at my full-time job, and I wasn't even paying attention. And then I realized people were actually starting to use it. And which was kind of cool because like I hadn't worked on it for months and people were starting to use it on the web. So, but yeah, that's that's when it started, and it was. I'm trying to think. I don't know how far. I don't remember how many years it was. I mean, it was 10 years. It was about 10 years ago when I launched iGrade Plus as it became my full-time job. Like I quit my regular job, just start working on it full-time about 10 years ago.
And the regular job was the aircraft carrier?
Yes.
It's in Java.
And so I was doing that job during the day, and then at night I would work on iGrade Plus when time permitted. And
iGrade Plus is the product for your sister, and the Oorian is the framework.
That's the framework, yeah.
So they extracted the framework from the product.
Well, no, I started developing the framework as an individual product, keeping in mind, with the idea in mind that I would eventually release it as its own product. It just so happens that iGrade Plus ended up consuming so much of my time that I never had time to polish it up and release it until just this year. So,
you released this year, this Oorian.
Yeah. So it's been in development for like 10 years. And actually, I haven't even released it yet. I was trying to get it done before. I was trying to get the official release out before this podcast, but I didn't get it out yet. So.
But the podcast will be released a little bit later. So you have a few weeks to go.
Yeah, I was really wanted to get it out. So.
Okay. So I just opened the Oorian. This is OORIN.com website. And the first impression is very good. So it looks great, actually, the first page. And it says iGrade Plus is commercial SaaS suite. iGrade Plus. Why the name iGrade Plus? This is commercial SaaS suite. Is this just because I thought this was for iGrade from school background, right?
Yes.
But it doesn't have to be that way, right? So I would say...
So iGrade Plus is my other product. So if you go to iGradePlus.com, you'll see that product.
No, but this is on the bottom of Oorian. Right, this is 10 plus years in production. iGrade Plus commercial SaaS suite build. Sorry.
So that's just saying that Oorian has been used to build that product. It's not as a sort of a use case, I guess. Or
this is a use case. And the interesting part is, if I took a look at the documentation, it seems like you use Java and you have type-safe widgets which are rendered to JavaScript. This is what happens behind the scenes, HTML and JavaScript.
Yeah. So my original plan was to build So Oorian, the name Oorian comes from it's object-oriented rich internet application.
This is what I thought, because REN, rich internet application, RIN. So this and O is object-oriented. Rich internet application.
I just added the N, so it sounded good. Yeah. So, my idea was that I would build a whole UI widget layer on top of the foundation layer of it. But as I developed iGrade Plus, I started realizing that building really sophisticated web components is a lot of work.
Yes.
It's a lot of work. And so that's when I started, I already have this framework in place it's all written in Java, has this really nice event handling system, all these other features. I'll just see if I can wrap an existing, JavaScript library in this and use Java to create those widgets. And I think the first product I did that with, was maybe CK Editor, just as a sort of a proof of concept, and that worked. So then I just, for iGrade Plus, I just started using other components out there and wrapping them, and now I have it in basically designed so that it's fairly easy to create wrappers around these JavaScript libraries. And so my goal is by the end of this year to have 170 libraries available with basically all the major JavaScript libraries are out there, and you'll just write your code in Java and you can use any of those.
I have an idea, because what I'm doing, I'm in backend, I just use Java all the time. And in front end, I like to use web components a lot without external dependencies, no builds and nothing. It could be actually a great enterprise idea that you have a default rendering between your components and vanilla web components, because then you can have enterprise applications without external dependencies, and without external dependencies means no security issues, no builds, and the components are swappable. There are lots, and this could be an enterprise idea, because what I do right now is in the front ends we just use. I would put it to the show notes, and this is bce.design. If you go to my GitHub, this is like maybe one JavaScript class and lit HTML and Redux, and you can build reactive applications like React, without external dependencies. And this is actually used a lot. This is not a framework. It's more like idea, what you can do, unidirectional data flow, reactivity, and stuff like that. And if you would use your framework to render the front end, maybe it's a good idea, no? Who knows?
Yeah, I'll have to look at it, because right now I'm just using it to render JavaScript stuff. But yeah, it's fairly, it's well architected, so plugging in something else probably would work fairly easily. So
yeah, there's a custom elements is standard. It's just like HTML tag, right? So I think it will work, because the Oorian console already looks like web components. And then I don't know whether you are aware of Quarkus. The Quarkus Dev UI is also web components. So or YouTube is also web components. So I think web components would fit well.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to look into that.
Okay, but from the technical perspective, what happened? So how to start and what to do? Let's say I would like to have what is the best possible use case for Oorian?
I mean, any web application, if just for writing it in Java, you don't want to deal with having to deal with other languages building your front end. So it's really meant to. If you were building an old school Swing application, right? Your UI is Java,
like IntelliJ, right?
Your UI is just
like form-based. Let's say I have a first name, last name, and button, and would like to submit it and render table on the next page, right?
Yeah, and you don't need you don't even need a next page. You could just do it on that page, because it's all asynchronous. So, and you
so how it would look like. So what I have to do with Oorian. So how to implement that?
So you just there's one library, one jar file, and there's one JavaScript file. The JavaScript file does the bridge work between the Java and then the browser. So you create a page class with an annotation, page annotation. You implement create head, create body, and then all the elements are just standard HTML. They're named after HTML, and so you add divs, you add your form, you add whatever other HTML element. And once you start getting into sophisticated controls, you can then plug in one of the separate libraries that provides sophisticated components. So
take a look at the user guide, which is nice. There's my application extends application, and you put web listener on it, and this basically it. And the web listener, I think even is a servlet web listener, right?
Yeah, there's an application class that just implements web listener. That's sort of the entry point, and then after that, you just create pages.
And you need a servlet container, Quarkus, or is already everything in the jar?
You do need to. There is a dependency on the servlet. Servlet
API
to Carta. Now, if you need, there's two ways to run this. You can run it like a standard Java web application on Tomcat or whatever. But there's also launch another separate product that you can attach that's part of Oorian called Launchpad, and that'll basically that wraps Jetty up in so you don't need it. You don't need to set up a server yourself. You can it's basically a self-contained web app that you can create using Launchpad. So that's pretty easy to use.
You know Quarkus?
I've heard of Quarkus, but I'll be honest. Since I started iGrade Plus, I have been in like a bubble for the last 10 years. So my knowledge of what's going on around in the tech Java world outside of what I'm doing is fairly limited.
Okay, then some ideas, because with Quarkus, what Quarkus is a next gen servlet container, and it has a build step. And what the build step would be interesting for you is the build step could configure your application. It optimizes stuff. If there's configuration, it will read the configuration and generate Java bytecode, which configures your class or whatever. And it is like a tree shaking process. So it removes whatever is not necessary. So it's even leaner. So the Quarkus starts incredibly fast, under 1 second. So it is way faster than Tomcat or whatever you know. And the cool story is, if you do it right, Quarkus can be compiled into native image. It means you don't distribute Java anymore. You distribute one binary file, and this binary file contains Java, Quarkus, and your application. And this starts in milliseconds, like 10, 20 milliseconds. And that's pretty cool, because if you would like to deploy your application, you just ship this file. It's usually between 20 and 50 megs, and you don't even need JDK. So everything is included. And Quarkus is big in enterprise. They have lots of, this is called extensions, and this nice UI console. So the next idea you could extend with Oorian is, there is a project is loosely related to Quarkus. It's called GraalVM.
Right. Okay.
And what GraalVM can do is they can run WebAssembly. So I think maybe you could actually cross-compile your Java code to WebAssembly, and then it could run. You could write Java, but it would run entirely in browser, for instance. Which could be interesting. So this is because I heard you only working 80 hours a week. So there is still, and week has 200 hours, right? 200 hours?
Yeah.
So you have a lot of free time where you can invest in some cool side projects.
Yeah, no, definitely. No, I just have to, iGrade Plus still takes up most of my time. So,
but I think web components is a big deal. Because it is and there's how it's called, Web Awesome, for instance. This is Web Awesome is I'm building I'm building an extension for Web Awesome. I actually already have it done. It's just not really. But Web Awesome are web components, so you are.
Oh, are they? Okay. I didn't realize that.
Shoelace was the predecessor of Web Awesome.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I already have that in there.
Yeah, you are not a very good salesman, I have to say. Everything is already included, and you say I don't have it. And
I am terrible. I'm a terrible salesman. I will.
Because I have to say it looks nice, and they were just the ideas here, and you already supporting a lot. Tailwind, which is Web Awesome UI extension. You're right. Tailwind, Pico, CSS, Lion UI extension, Bulma. I use Bulma a lot, interestingly. Looks nice. Bootstrap, of course. So you are crazy. There are lots of charts. You're like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. D3GS is a big.
Yeah, the way I have it set up, they're easy to integrate now. So I figured I'd just add all as many as I can to make it as flexible as possible.
As many as you can. It is a complete page of everything, pivot table and whatever. Now, I have to say, it is really fresh and interesting idea. And why Quarkus or Micronaut, these are two very lightweight frameworks. And with that, you get maybe a little bit more easier, enterprise clients. And you have already web components. And the technology, you are aware of Vaadin?
Yeah, I didn't realize I know, like I said, I've been in a bubble, so I didn't even realize Vaadin existed. Like, because the first thing I got when I went out on Reddit and posted a write up about my product to say, hey, this is something I've been working on for like 10 years, and I'm getting ready to release it, and does this interest anyone? And that's the first thing I got back was, well, what makes this different than Vaadin? And I was like, well, when I developed this, I didn't know that existed. So I don't even know. From researching it now, it looks like that they did what I originally wanted to do, was put their own UI layer on top of their framework.
Exactly. They have Vaadin components, web components.
Right.
And but I would say the interesting part is that you have a lots of extensions with ready-to-use JavaScript libraries.
Yeah.
And
right.
This is another take, because Vaadin is the full stack, and you can say this is Java door to JavaScript libraries, right? So it's complete different use case. And it is.
And the big thing is you don't write any JavaScript. So, you just plug these in and you write Java. So for every JavaScript component these libraries have, I've duplicated a Java component for it. So that if you go into the demos page, to the listeners,
Oorian with double O, Oorian, and demos, and we have featured demo weather forecast, which looks already nice.
Yeah, if you go down to the each of those demos, when you open them, you'll see a view source code button. You can look at that.
Feels like 26 degrees Celsius, or is it Fahrenheit in Ellicott?
That's where I live. That is Fahrenheit.
Ah,
yes.
Then it's cold.
Yeah, it's snowing outside right now.
Okay. Charts network demo coming soon. Network graph, business metrics also coming soon.
Yeah, there's a sales dashboard. If you look at that one, that one's implemented.
Employee tracker, sales dashboard. View demo.
Yeah,
that's nice.
That's a demo of chart.js. And if you look at the source code, you'll see somewhere. Well, that's probably not a good example.
You should use the Java 25 syntax with var.
Oh yeah, See, I'm so old school. It's
You are young. You started with Atari 400, so no. I would say the lines of code here are maybe 400 lines of Java code, understandable, and the JavaScript looks great. So I would say the use case is really interesting what you did. And it doesn't matter that Vaadin is similar, because by accident you integrated all the JavaScript libraries, and Vaadin is just one library. So it's complete different purpose,
Right.
What you did is actually cool, because there are millions of JavaScript libraries. You pick some, but I think it is easier. You could have a use case where enterprise client asks you to integrate this JavaScript library, and you will do it, right? And for instance,
I mean, any end user can do it.
But you would like to sell something, so you could do this.
Yes.
Very good. But I would encourage actually listeners to look at Oorian. This I will put, of course. We will also name it the podcast episode after Oorian. How Oorian happened, and I I like the take. So I would say how you write Java, it doesn't matter in the demos, but I will make it more fresh. What I will also do in your case is very easy. Use more Java records, know a little bit more builder syntax to make it a little bit more compact, more modern. But this is like really matter of a few hours. This is not like the big deal. So I think the hard work, what you did is the integration with JavaScript libraries and test the entire thing. And what I'm telling you right now is the last mile.
Okay, well, I will take that into consideration.
Because it has to look fresh. And this looks a little bit dated because you're not using the var. You have setters and you can have, the method chaining with or whatever. And if you have a modern syntax, then it's a really nice framework, I have to say. Super cool, actually.
I'll tell you what, I will redo that and I'll send you an email when I'm done so you can take a look at it.
And we will record another episode, of course, and go through the changes. And maybe you should not redo this now because there's other things to do, just, but keep it in mind. Take a look, on modern example from Oracle, for instance, Java 25 or whatever, and be inspired. Because if the syntax is nice, looks nice, then developers like it, right? And if it looks dated, you get on Reddit lots of heat, verbose Java or whatever, then Java is not.
Yeah.
And the cool story is what I do right now, I migrate lots of Python to Java. And always Java looks nicer and is shorter than Python so far. So maybe I will one day find something which longer Python than Java. Right now is if you do it right with Java, there are lots of possibilities.
Java, it seemed to not grow much for years, and then in the last 10 or 15 years, it's sort of just exploded. Like the number of features that have been added in the last 10 years, I can't keep up with it because I'm. So
you are in the bubble. You spend 80 hours with Oorian and aircraft management. But it looks good. What about the performance, state management? Is it a problem? How you do this? You have sessions or?
No, it uses sessions. iGrade Plus gets iGrade Plus has about 50 to 70,000 users, I think, and
wow,
it gets I think 250,000 visits a month. I can't remember. I think
so. It is actually used in production. iGrade Plus.
Oh yeah. That's yes, yeah. iGrade Plus has been in production for like 10 years. So yeah.
And who uses iGrade Plus? Schools, but how many?
Schools. I don't know. I don't off the top of my head. I don't know how many, but
like 10, 20, 100.
Yeah, it's hundreds, and it's like I said, there's like I think 50 to 70,000 users, active users. So it's a lot. So I mean, it's not Amazon, but it's definitely it's not it's up in the I think top like 25% of traffic as far as like from statistics. So it gets heavy use, and there's no problems with performance.
But it also feels fast. Well, it does run in the cloud, right?
Yeah. Well, yes. It runs on my servers here.
Okay. Yeah, it feels really snappy. And I'm in Europe and you're in the US. Super cool. I think we covered Oorian, right?
Yeah.
So I have to say,
there's a lot of features to it, but
would you like to mention some cool features?
So I think some of the cool features that stand out to me that I really like is the CSS stuff that I have built into it's pretty cool. Like you can build complete CSS style sheets in memory. So if you have like if your users you want to build user themes and you can store that CSS in a database and then you can load that CSS for that specific user right as if it's a file. It's an actual it's a Java class in memory. So that's pretty cool. There's a lot of dynamic CSS stuff you can do.
So you have
iGrade.
user-specific CSS file, like a multi-tenant CSS.
Yeah, but also like CSS is like CSS. It's really cryptic. I mean, it's powerful, but like trying to understand the syntax, at least for me, is just like impossible. So,
but it got better the recent years. We have CSS variables. We have grid CSS. So the CSS grid is almost like the swing. If you remember the swing, was it grid layout? Yeah, grid layout. So
yeah. So like there's a complete Java API for setting CSS. There's enumerations for that, so you don't have to remember all the different types, and all this. So that's really nice. The event handling is very cool. I think you can, for communication, you can set each page differently or the whole application as full Ajax or Ajax and SSE or WebSockets. You just configure it. You don't have to understand how to use any of that technology. It's a configuration switch you set, and then your program doesn't change. Your code doesn't change. It's just underneath the communication mechanism changes. And
it looks nice. So what I found is my page extends HTML page implements mouse click listener, and there's a create body a hook, and what you can do is there's one button, register listener, mouse click event, and you have it, right? So and on event and this looks almost like JavaScript. So as you remember, the mouse click event get source equals save button. If it's a source, then save data. So what you also have to look at is what we got in Java is how to call it, type patterns. So you can have switch cases, switch expressions and switch cases and if statements, which dispatch regarding to the type. So in this particular case, you could say if the event source equals, okay, this is the instance, save button, but it could be HTML button, whatever. So in this particular case, I just got you that you're not comparing the type, you are comparing the instance, which is okay. But so in the next iteration, what you only have to do is you have to change the examples, right? Because the framework, how the framework is implemented, no one cares. It's just the examples could be beautified, right? So there's actually nothing to do. You can just incrementally make the examples a little bit more beautiful. And at least, you have to have, the curly brackets in the same line as the code line. This is a C style what you implemented.
Oh, I know.
Developers hate it.
I cannot read code that is written with the brackets on the same line. I can't read code.
But if you get an enterprise, client, and will pay you, so you can change the examples and reformat the code, right? It's also possible.
Yeah.
This will be the first assignment.
Yeah, I have my own personal tastes as far as styling goes, so it differs from the stand. Like
from my taste, unfortunately, but it is just the formatting. So this is the formatting and a little bit beautification. But I'm impressed actually. The amount of care and the features are amazing. And with a little bit of beautification, what you should do is Java 1 is in 2 weeks. I guess they have no more slots, but the project is interesting enough. I will ping Sharath Chanda and ask him.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, San Francisco, Java 1.
Well, I don't think I could do that. I'm a shut-in.
You should do this. You should go out.
I need to hire someone. I need to hire someone as the face of this to do that for me. So
okay. Or you should practice, because this would be an interesting project. This is like, there are not a lot of such Java projects, and
yeah.
But thank you a lot. If you have a new release or just it was really nice to chat with you, just ping me and do a record. The Oorian, sorry, but this is OO. this is why I always Oorian, or this is Orion actually. What could be in logo would be cool O2, O2 Ryan, for instance. Two O's. Yeah. But it was a lots of fun, and I hope you good luck with the project. I wish you good luck with the project, and I would like to invite you back to talk a little bit more in depth about the features, use cases, whatever. Just focus on Orion next time, or iGrade Plus. Mm-hmm.
I would be happy to do that. Yeah, and I appreciate your invite.
Yeah, sure. If someone pings me, with an interesting project, I usually invite. This is my reaction.
And I'll get those code samples formatted the way you like it. Now,
no, it's just not because of me, but the C style is. I think most of Java developers like to have the curly brackets the same line, and just take a look at data-oriented programming from Oracle. Some ideas, the newer one in Java 25, and make the code maybe as simple and compact as possible, and maybe you will like it, and developers will appreciate it, because this is my way actually to write modern code, almost like a sport. How simple can you make? And this is amazing what you can do with Java actually.
Okay, yeah, no, I got to get out of the bubble.
And this is fun. This is fun because you cannot break anything. You have already the code. It's just example code. What I'm talking about. Yeah. You don't have to change the framework. It's just to play with the framework. What I will do in your case is just pick Java 25 examples and try to write with the ideas from Java 25 examples, Orion code.
So this is all new to Java 25. There's nothing before. None of this stuff is before Java 25.
Java 25 is LTS, and Java 26 is on the horizon. So I think this is new framework. Why not to target Java 25?
Yeah. No.
Nothing
true.
If you think about it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm definitely going to look at that and.
But whatever I said, think about. This is not like I'm telling you to do anything, because you spent 10 years with that. Just as my impression, what I see.
Well, you're the Java expert, so.
Well, what means Java expert? I spent in boring enterprise projects, code reviews, architecture. Is not like I'm building, it's not like rocket science, I'm not building, aircrafts. This is more like boring enterprise applications with database. I was never at NASA, and no rockets and no aircraft carrier. So this is about me, So thank you. Where people can find you on the internet?
I'm on LinkedIn, Blue Sky.
Orion.com with double O, Orion.com, right?
Yeah.
And iGrade Plus, which also iGradePlus.com, iGradePlus.com.
Yeah.
And the Orion and iGrade Plus look professional and great, clean, professional, great. It doesn't look like a typical Java framework website, I would say.
Yeah, that's one thing. I like to have polish on stuff. So
yeah, and it's really polished. Mm-hmm. And your name is Marvin Warble.
Yep.
And this is where you're on LinkedIn, and people can connect with you on LinkedIn. Or try Orion and give you nice feedback and like the project or whatever, right?
Yep, and hopefully this will be available by the time this airs. So
yeah, I can wait. Okay, then thank you a lot and see you next time.
All right, thank you. I really appreciate it.